Welcome y bienvenidos to Presently Aquí, a podcast created just for you, a place to find tools, insights, and a gentle guidance to nurture your self love journey. Together, we'll connect with extraordinary healers from around the world, uncovering the wisdom and unique gifts they share to help us lead healthier, more loving lives, beginning with ourselves. And today I have a beautiful guest that was referred to me by an amazing friend that I've known for a very long time. And he was like, "You have to have this guy on your podcast." And I was like, "Okay." I want everyone to meet Ravindra. And Ravindra Walsh is a seasoned spiritual life coach, Reiki master, and founder of the HeartPath Institute. With over 40 years of experience in inner healing and leadership transformation, Ravindra blends ancient spiritual wisdom with practical tools for personal growth. Through his signature HeartPath method, he guides individuals to heal, thrive, and sustain meaningful change rooted in power of Shakti and heart center awareness. He's also the author of the Contemplative Heart and contributor to the Good Men Project. Welcome, Ravindra.
Claudia, great to be
Yes,
here.
yes, yes. So great to have you. So we do have a mutual friend, Brian, that I need to
Yes,
mention on here.
he's
And
uh,
what are your thoughts?
he is so incredible.
He is so
He is
incredible.
just so incredible.
hmm Truly a
I've known
unique
Brian, I
soul.
think we're going on 3 years now.
Wow. I've
And
known Brian for 16 years.
wow, you've seen a
hmm
lot of changes.
I've seen a lot of changes, even because he was a baby when I met him. He was like 21, 20. So now he's a man, So to see the
Yeah.
growth, it is like he's like a little brother. So just to see that
Oh,
growth, just
yeah.
to see, right, his soul also have the growth.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a gift for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm
Time gives us, right? Time
Yes.
gives us the revelation of the soul.
Oh, totally.
It's
It
to
totally
come out.
does. But come,
Yeah.
especially for us, a unique soul like his, right? That is that, like us, right? That has the unraveling that we can watch and just be so in awe that we get to
Yeah.
witness that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Totally. So I'm grateful that he introduced us both, and we are here
Likewise.
today.
Yeah.
And Ravi's going to lead us into a very short meditation before we get into this beautiful conversation. So
Wonderful.
I will set it off.
In the name of the Maha, Shambhala, Shambhala. I invite everyone to take comfortable posture with your spine straight, but relaxed. Take a few deep, steady breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can adjust your posture to release the stress, tension that can build up through our day. Taking another deep breath in, long breath out. And I'm going to call your awareness to that still quiet space at the top of the inhalation, right before the exhalation begins, where there is no breathing. And then exhale long. And there too, at the bottom of the exhalation, before the next inhalation, there's a space where there's no breathing. The first meditation we work with in HeartPath is that space. We call it the still space. Not only is it between each of your breaths, but notice it's also between your thoughts. No matter how fast the thoughts are going through the mind, there is a space where the last thought, at the point where the last thought leaves off and before the next thought begins. Once we become familiar with this space, we start to notice it everywhere, don't we? It's between the words, I am speaking. It's between the clouds and the sky, the branches on a tree. It's everywhere. And what is this space? It is pure consciousness. In Kashmir Shaivism, 8th century Indian philosophy, it is said to be the witness. It is actually you. You are that space. You are watching the play or the movie of your own life. So for this meditation, you don't need to do anything. Just notice when you get caught up in thoughts, if you do, to bring your awareness to the space between your thoughts. You could bring it to the space between the words, I am speaking, or between your breaths. And yet, remember, between the systolic and diastolic beats of your physical heart, there's a space where there's no heartbeat. Outside, inside, this space is where we are all one. Meditate wherever your mind wanders. Guide it into that space and maybe get curious. What is in here for me? Meditate on the still space within. all the peace, all the love, and all the power that we've been conditioned to seek in the outer world is really within this space. It's been with us all this time. It will be with us when we leave this body. It is the source of creation, sustenance, and destruction. It is the one self of all.
Thank you. We do have a beautiful conversation to get into. So, for those of you listening, when you're ready, open your eyes. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy these meditations because they're such a mental cleansing palette for these conversations, right?
Mm,
And so I appreciate them very much. So, yeah, thank you, Ravi. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Mm. So, let's start. Ravi, can you kind of take us back a little bit in what led you on the path to your spiritual healing and transformation, since we're going to have this conversation about our own self-transformation?
Yeah, great. Well, it really happened in 1986.
Mm,
Um, I mean, I now have awareness of, guides that I'm very connected to consciously now, being in my life, from childhood. My mother said, "You always talked about UFOs. Why did you talk about UFOs?" The first time they took me to Washington, D.C., I said, "Are we getting to go up in that?" Pointing to the Washington Monument. And she said, No, you can't go up there. I said, "Oh, yes, you can. You could go up inside of it. My friends took me there." And turns out at one time you could go up to the top of the Washington Monument, but you can't anymore. Um, but a real true awakening happened when I met my Kundalini teacher, who in 1987 I got to visit and wanted nothing to do with yoga. I grew up Catholic and Irish Catholic and knowing everything. So I didn't jive with this at all. I really wanted to just go home. My friends said, you came all this way and you said you wanted to meet a living saint. And I said, well, then it didn't happen in here. Well, why don't you just give it a try?
Right.
You can try. And I will say that, when one encounters one
Mhm.
of these beings, stuff just comes up
Mhm.
inside.
Yeah.
And I was even starting to get scared with all the stuff that was coming up
Mhm.
inside of me. Um, but they held an evening program, and I attended. And the first clue was she spoke about seva, which is selfless service, offering service without expectation of reward, which is very common in monasteries and ashrams. And I was given a particular kind of seva, actually cleaning out the lint drain for the dryers. And my ego could not take that. So I said, I'm out of here. And I told my seva supervisor, I'm really not dressed for this. And she said, Oh, you look fine. Yeah, I'm really not. So I think I'll just go back to my room and I'll be back.
Yeah.
And she said, You're coming back, right? I said, Yeah, but get started. It's a long way. Long, long way.
Yes.
Bye. No intent of coming back. Well, that night she gave a talk on seva.
Mm.
And she said, it's very natural for Westerners to not understand this practice. It's an Eastern practice, or in monasteries. She said, one surprising thing, though, is I can understand someone not wanting to do it, but then when you tell somebody you're going to do it
Mhm.
and you're going to go and change your clothes, and then you don't come back, I felt all eyes turning on me. Of course, they didn't, but she was revealing, the omniscience that she lives in.
Mhm.
And this intrigued me.
Right.
So I went up for darshan at the end of this and had a massive, what's considered, very strong Kundalini awakening,
Mhm.
just by her tapping me with what are called peacock wands, um, on top of my head. I mean, the universe exploded and I was in space.
Mhm.
And I don't know how long it went. My friend said I was down on that floor for a long time.
Mhm.
And thus began a conversation that was happening inside where I said to her, Where am I? She said, Your heart. And I said, This space, this love is inside my heart. How come I don't know about this? She hit me a couple of more times and I came out and I said, I'm going to know about this. I want to know about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I began my practice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that
Yeah,
love, right? When you first experience the blissfulness and you're
yeah,
like, this has been here this whole time,
right. Yeah,
always and
yeah,
forever.
yeah.
It's humbling almost, right? Just
Oh, yeah,
totally.
yeah, yeah,
It is incredible. And I'm sure you agree with that. If we could give that to everybody, that awareness and not only the knowingness, right? The feeling of it from you.
yeah,
That if we could just put it in a box, right? And just walk around in the streets, see like here's one for you, here's one for you. But
yeah,
that's not how it works, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just the rarity of meeting anyone who has that
Mm,
capacity is
mm,
huge.
it's huge.
And then to actually begin the process of sadhana, it's called in, um, the yogic practices, the
Mm,
mindfulness, some of
mm,
those practices I have in my own work today is huge. It's just huge. And those beings, are holding this whole experience together.
truly,
um, and
truly.
it's and they say we're in Kali Yuga, as you
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes. Yeah.
and this is the only thing worth doing in Kali Yuga because if you haven't noticed, everything else is just falling apart.
Right.
Everything,
Right.
um,
Totally.
and
It,
it's crazy. I mean,
it,
really,
right.
it's getting crazy.
It is.
So yeah,
Yes, yes, totally. Um, So how has your, since that moment, right, of having that feeling, because it's not so much the awareness mentally, it's the awareness of the body and the spirit and all of that, how has
Yeah.
that evolved through time for you and doing the work that you do, right? How, because that's just like you walking into the door for the first time.
Yeah. So, um, again, I feel like I was just guided to the teachers that would teach me the work that I'm doing. Um, the first job I got, I was with some of the greatest social workers and psychologists and
Mm,
psychiatrists, and they all thought, I'd become a social worker, I'd become a psychiatrist, psychologist. No, it's in, human design. Have you heard of human design? Yeah,
actually, I'm a
I'm a
projector.
reflector.
Hey.
Hey, so, I just downloaded. No, I don't want to go and do that. I just want to download from you.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then massage was the same way, going to massage
Mm,
school. Met some incredible healers and
mm,
and then going on and doing Reiki and
mm,
then Shambhala multidimensional healing, which was a whole upgrade of applying this. And now I really do feel, Claudia, that the Shakti, the Kundalini just flows through whenever I'm doing.
mm,
It's really been getting myself as much as possible out of the way
mm,
and just allowing it to happen and understanding the phases, right? And that's one of the things I wrote to you about is the phases that I work with people on is heal, sustain, and thrive. Um, Going back to your question before, if we could give people this,
mm.
you know, people have come to my teacher and said, I know you can do it. Just give it to me. Give it all to me. And she's like, you go insane.
Yes,
And I can
yes.
tell you, after 40 years, that is true. That is definitely true.
Mm-hmm,
It's so because you're not in control of the process.
mm-hmm,
So I find that the blend of the Reiki and the Shambhala really does help people
mm.
begin to acclimate easier to the awakenings, but also the cleansing.
Oh, yes.
Um, and, the sweetness of life. We have a practice called tracking, where you start to track coincidences, synchronicities, animal encounters,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everything that
Like,
starts to happen to you,
right.
and tag it back to your intention
Mm-hmm.
to really see that, to start to train your mind to see that everything that's happening is happening for you. It's not happening to you. It appears that way. But once you reach a certain state of awareness, oh boy, I gotta go through something. Here comes the person who's gonna give it to me. Um,
Goodness, yes.
so it's been, and then just all the love, just the love you
Mm,
get to feel that with people. Today, Claudia, I went and got a taco. We have a great taco place in town and super cheap. And I'm walking out, and there's a couple
mhm.
standing on the sidewalk, and they're about to, you know, light up, crack.
Right.
And one of them drops
Mm.
the crack on the sidewalk. And her partner paused and said, I'll get it for you, dear. And right then and there, I just froze. I said, how beautiful. This is so beautiful. He's going to get it for her. And, there was a time, of course, where I judged that. And,
Right.
it's not my path.
Mhm.
But what a beautiful moment in time to just witness this man going down and picking up,
Mm.
the crack and giving it to her for the pipe. And
Right.
off they go.
And
It's
off
like,
they go.
have
That's
a good
you're
trip.
right. That's their loving journey. Yes, that's what they're
Yeah,
carrying together. Mm,
that's it.
right.
I mean, that's just such a gift to
Yes.
live with, the awareness as much as I have it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's sweet, very
Yeah,
sweet.
it is sweet. Um, I love that you said once upon a time I would have judged it, right? And here you're seeing for what it really is, being the observer true its form without judgment or shame. And by you doing that, and this is for the audience, when Ravi experienced that and felt that and acknowledged all of that, if he were to judge the situation and those people, in turn he's judging himself. It has nothing to do with the people in the crack. So
Right.
as he's done the work, he sees now the beauty in everything and not have that judgment and see and oh my God and oh blah blah blah. And I can definitely understand that now. I live in Los Angeles and we have so much homeless here,
Yeah.
and you can definitely falter into that space. But I've had those moments when you can watch them help each other with water, or there's one who's great at being an electrician and knows how to rewire the light posts for the whole block of these encampments, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead, I'm like, oh, you can't believe. No, it's like genius,
Yeah.
genius. This person will not. There's nothing
Yeah.
that, the human condition. It's so beautiful to observe and how we're so
Right.
resilient in many forms and
Right.
loving as well, right? Picking up whatever that may be on the floor for the person you love. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is such a
Yeah.
beautiful reflection. I appreciate you sharing. Um,
Thank you.
no, thank you. And so, a lot of these conversations are for those listening, in their path. And, Ravi, you and I are leaders in our own area expertise. And for the listeners out there, what kind of, or maybe I should leave this for last. I'm feeling that now. We'll
Uh,
leave it for last. We're gonna
okay.
leave this question for the end. So let's talk about your heart path. Tell us a little bit about what that is and what the method is and what inspired you to create such a beautiful thing.
Um, Great question. Couple questions in there. What
Mm,
inspired me? I like that.
mhm,
Spiritus. What inspired me? Well, I really do feel that it was all inspired. I
mhm,
mean, I was guided to the people, who gave me pieces, to help.
right.
And um, personally, I think facing my own trauma,
Mm,
since COVID in the last, 3 years, doing a lot of trauma work
mhm,
on myself with healers and coaches and therapists, and really starting to understand that as long as our trauma is active, it's like we've been hijacked. We really don't have the capacity, to grow.
right.
So that's why heal, sustain, and thrive is so important
Mm,
in my work, that we have to set aside time, to heal.
mhm,
Um, and once we experience that, we can begin to make better choices
totally.
because we want to sustain this state of awareness that we're now in.
Mhm,
Reiki means light of awareness. So does
mm,
Shakti. So this light is not only, shining, but it's aware.
mm,
So when we do Reiki sessions with people, we're really opening up their awareness
mm,
and then surrounding them in a blanket of light.
mm,
And we're so fortunate. I was I was channeling one of my guides the other day with Brian. You could see this on YouTube in a day or so. And my guide was talking about the trans movement. And my guide said, during the early 60s,
mhm,
there were young people who basically broke out of a mindset. They stopped showering, they stopped shaving, grew their hair long,
mhm,
and they created a revolution that has changed the entire world.
yeah,
And that revolution started in their households when their parents went to their parents, kids'
Mm.
grandparents, and said, "What do they look at this? You told us if we did this, the whole
Mm.
world would fall apart." Well, it's not
Right.
falling apart.
Right.
They're okay. They don't
Mm-hmm.
make money. They're not trying to get. Well, yes, they ended up going out and becoming the greatest
Right.
billionaires on the planet, but that was a revolution.
Right.
And what my guide was telling me was our trans community is doing that again.
Mm.
They're creating a revolution
Yes.
of a whole new sense of being, a whole new sense of awareness
Right.
of who they are
Right.
and what they're not here to do.
Right.
My trans son looked at me one day and said, "I get it. This works for you. You
Mm-hmm.
got a partner, you got a house. This is all good.
Right.
This doesn't work for me, so I'm out of here." It
Right.
was fun. The level of clarity
Yeah.
in his eyes and I mean, I was reaching for it.
Mm.
And gratefully, thank God he did take time out of my life
Yeah.
so that I could heal.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I would suggest people use this time to do is, stay in your healing. You will start to see you're sustaining new habits, new patterns, and be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing it not just for you, but for this collective that, you know, it doesn't appear to be very interested in that right now. Um, and then you get a whole new definition of what thriving is. It might be more than just owning two cars, a nice big house, and, a view of the ocean. Good for you. You get to see the ocean.
Yes. 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 It's funny
I
because.
got to share a story, Claudia. So when I was a teenager, my father took me to Los Angeles, took me up,
Mm.
and said that we're going to meet somebody who lives next door to Dr. Seuss. I said, "Wow,
Mm.
that's fascinating. Oh, that's
Right.
great."
Right.
So I go into this house, and oh my God, there's a wall of windows overlooking the ocean. And this woman is standing there, and she's got her hand on her head. My father says, "What's going on?" And she says, "Look." She had just had the windows cleaned, and a seagull flew by and dive bombed it. And she was so angry. I thought, okay, well, I've gotten to see this. I got
Mm.
this experience, got that checked off. Don't need this again. Thank you.
Right.
Um, so heal, sustain, and thrive. What thriving means is very different than what we're watching on television shows
Yeah.
and the news.
Mm.
It's so much more awareness and presence.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, tell us about your heart path method that you help people with, and yeah, tell us a little bit
So
about
when
it.
people contact me, the first thing that I ask them is if today were the day that you
Mm.
could lie under a wish fulfilling tree and have
Mm-hmm.
any wish you wanted,
Mm.
what would you wish for?
Mm-hmm.
That's the test. If you say a brand new Lexus, you know,
My answer, because the knowingness, I would be like, well, first, I don't wish because I'm not trying to call any gins and
right?
right?
Yeah,
That'll be
yeah,
my be like, well, actually, there isn't any. I don't partake in that space, knowing now, right? And
yeah,
all the birthdays that I've stopped since,
yeah,
So that is the test, right? And it's a good test because again, you're not judging. Like, oh, I knew you were gonna
right.
say that, or I knew you were gonna wish that, or usually people do wish that, or whatever. You're just indicating where are
Yeah,
you? Where are you?
right, right.
And that
And is
simple
this a good fit?
question, that question
Yeah,
will do it, right?
yeah.
Totally.
So we help people come to an intention, a state of being that you really know is inside of you. And you
Yeah.
want to embody that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring that out
Mm-hmm.
into your life because abundance is right here. This is an abundance that cannot be captured in dollars, what we're doing right now. The Shakti that's flowing through this conversation is just so divine. It's
It's so
beautiful.
divine. It is.
And that we both know Brian. We
No, no,
meet
no. Right.
we meet people. And I'll tell you a story that I heard during COVID, which blows my mind about the power of intention. So I heard this story, and I believe it's true.
Mm.
When Los Angeles went into lockdown,
Right.
one of the people on social services came to the mayor and said, "We got a problem." He said, "What's that?" She goes, "There are people in Skid Row who are living on the street. They're not getting vaccines. They're not safe. When we go back out again, we're going to get infected." And he said, "Oh, that's a problem. Yep. What do we do about that?" So, well, nobody is in the hotels.
Right.
So why don't we put them up in the hotels? Give them showers, give them food, give them vaccines, whatever your feelings on the vaccines are. Stay with the story,
Yep.
and help them so
Right.
that they're not reinfecting everyone. Oh, that makes total sense. Yes, do that. Rent them out. Do you realize that in one day, Skid Row was emptied in
Mhm.
Los Angeles? Okay, maybe there's some people I'm sure left who didn't want to go, whatever.
Right.
But homelessness was largely, eliminated during this experience. Now, COVID hits. What do they do?
And we're back.
Go back out. So I got very curious about change that way.
Right.
I've done some organizational consulting and I've seen the same thing happen in
Mhm.
organizations. So this is the second tool that, you can have that glimpse,
Yep.
and Reiki and meditation and Kundalini will give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the soul's work or the ego work to sustain that.
Yes.
And that's the second piece. Once you identify that state of being you want to live in,
Mm-hmm.
through the Reiki, through inquiry,
Mm.
and I have created or downloaded HeartPath Inquiry, which works with our head, our heart, and our hara to open up these channels so we can begin to tap the neurons that HeartMath Institute says are there. 60% of the neurons here are the cells here are neuronal in nature. They're going to your brain already. You're getting messages from your heart, and we're just not aware of it. We're not taught this, as well as the hara, the seat of the soul. Um, I tell people that, when samurai warriors commit what's called harikuri, which is they cut open that part of their body and essentially die, they're not killing themselves. They are in a level of awareness where they're saying, my soul is ready to go. And I don't need to create a disease or catch a disease, whatever way you think about it. I'm done. I'm done here.
Mhm.
I'm
And
going.
it's free will. It's
It's
free
free
will.
will.
It's totally
Yeah.
the choice. Yeah.
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 So that sustaining stage is really the inner work, and that's where most of my connection with my clients really happens. It's so beautiful. It's such an honor to be part, of that with people. I've come to praise so many of my teachers and healers,
Right.
who were there with me,
Right.
and still are. I still work on it. But and then to get to see people thrive. Let me give you an example of this. I work with some very, very wealthy people in past lives. I was
Mhm.
prime minister to a number of different families, and they're showing up again. And these are very, very wealthy people. And, they have whatever they want.
Right.
And it took a lot for me to look at, my judgments of that
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to. I'm like, dude,
Yes.
if you're going to work with me, you got to just accept, okay, this is what I do. I get a
Right.
car, a brand new Porsche every 3 years. I live wherever I want. I travel on private planes. This is me. So deal.
Right.
Okay. I need a minute. I need a minute.
Right.
Um, but to see, somebody like open up to, I once gave a man the assignment to go to a coffee shop
Mm-hmm.
in Los Angeles and sit there for 7 days. To go in
Mm-hmm.
the morning, sit for a couple of hours, and leave, and tell me what you saw. Now, he never went to a coffee shop at all. He ordered all his coffee online or somebody brought it to him.
Wow.
But he did it. And he said, "Oh my God, the coffee person, she has kids
Mm.
and she lives in a house. How does she afford that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "There you go. That's it.
Right.
Contemplate that for a while."
Yeah.
And that began to open him to seeing, the bubble he was living in.
Mm-hmm.
And now, he's in a successful relationship and he's starting to look at, what do I want to do with this money? Who can I help? How can I?
Yes.
And it's taken years.
Right.
It's taken years of work.
Totally. Totally.
So that is, to me, that's thriving.
Right.
His money is great, but he's now getting to enjoy the moment with
Mm-hmm.
real people.
Right.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, were you inspired by the HeartMath Institute, to create your own method, per se?
Ac- No, actually, I created it beforehand, before they came out. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it
I
just came
love
to me. This
that.
will be called HeartPath. But again, during COVID, I started watching videos on trauma
Right.
and how, healing trauma is such a part
Yes.
of what I was going through and I was watching people go through,
Right.
and supporting them, that I wanted to understand it
Mm-hmm.
more. And Dr. Gabor Mate's work, I
Yes.
must have
Love
watched
his work.
hundreds of his videos,
Love his work.
um, that I started to make really those two, just seeing the impact of trauma and in
Mm-hmm.
people in my community. I mean, a beautiful
Yes.
teacher in my community, whose family grew up in the Holocaust and
Mm.
how that trauma just passed right to her.
Right.
She was a thriving, wonderful, well, still is, but a
Right.
thriving person in her career and everything. But when her mother died, boom, that trauma came out.
Yep.
And so it's real. And I feel like it's the underlying factor to all addiction.
Right.
We are not meant to be addicted.
Right.
But when you have buried trauma, you learn very quickly how to create a behavior. Because most people now have behavioral addictions. We're not even talking drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
behaviors, normal behaviors, sex, movie watching, television, uh,
Being on your phone.
exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those two combinations, what HeartMath Institute is registering and showing the neural activity in these other centers
Right.
and what that does, especially with leaders
Mm.
who learn how to come from here, not here. This is second. We
Right.
come from here first. We feel,
Right.
and then we listen to what questions the heart is using the mind
Mm-hmm.
to ask.
Yes.
That feels like it's writing the scales.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a pleasure and it's a gift.
It is.
I know it's a gift.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Totally. I
Thank you.
understand. Yes, because that's our job, right? To reconnect everyone back to their heart space, to their soul. And,
Yeah,
being able to teach mindfulness, um, when I had the epiphany of like what mindfulness really is doing is helping people have control over the one place that's being controlled by their lives, right? The mind.
yeah,
The mind is controlling their lives. And so I help people understand that the mind is exhausted because the job of the mind is not to be the leader of you. So it's doing everything. It's being the body, it's being the heart, it's being you. It's
yeah,
exhausted. So
yeah.
imagine adding work, adding being a parent, add all those things. So you're now burying yourself and
Right,
there's no way to hear your heart from all those
right.
things. So, right, having that back door, as I call it, to get in there and just, with the kids, it's so easy, right? Because they're already still so connected to their heart space. So,
Yeah,
getting them to do a heart meditation, easy. I'm like, what did your heart tell
yeah,
you? And they tell me what their heart said. I'm like, yeah, with the adults, as you know, there's more work that needs to be had to
Yeah,
go through the layering, right, of
right,
uncovering of the blocks of why this is not, it's not
right,
connecting.
right. Yeah,
That's it.
I live in a university town,
Mm,
Ithaca College and
mm,
Cornell University.
mm,
Cornell is, an Ivy League school,
right.
and it's it's challenging because there is so much focus on the mind,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think, the challenges that are happening right now, right? If we track
Right.
what's happening to these universities with losing funding,
Right.
well, one of the good signs is, they're having to re-examine, you know, this this sense of knowing everything,
Yes.
that in some ways our universities have really grown beyond their britches, that you don't know everything,
You don't. Right.
and you can't. You
No.
can't. There's no, but you can know your own state of being,
Mm-hmm.
and that opens up the reflection, right, of what's here.
Right.
So one of my guides says, Ram Dass almost had it right. Be here now,
Right.
and then now be here. But he said, if you really look at the alliteration, it would have to be now here be here now here be.
Mm-hmm.
So what is here is what is now,
Mm-hmm.
is what is you.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting with you, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and the more we sit in this awareness of just being here with each other,
Right.
we start to see that here is where all the energy, all the power, all the light, all the abundance is. It's
Yes.
right here.
Yes.
And I'll walk out of here and I'll have a wonderful evening because of the frequency that we're on. And it's just, and then more people come into my life who are at that frequency, close to that frequency. Now my life is surrounded by people for the most part. And I love it. I just, that's abundance. That's rich. That's being wealthy. That's wealth. Is wealth having, a big house and, you know, waiting for somebody to come to wipe the bird poop off your window? Is that it? Is that what it was all leading to? Um,
Material
yeah,
abundance, right? The material aspect, because right, the conditioning or the memory loss, right, is that it's only what I can touch, what I can see,
yes,
what's in front of me,
right.
right, without realizing that everything that is in front of you is your feedback loop to yourself,
Beautiful. To yourself.
to
And
yourself.
you have to want this. You have to want who you are. Wanting stuff is fine. It's great. I have enough
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Stuff is
I'll
good.
I'll sh I'll share a story with you.
Great.
I drive for Lyft, right?
Hmm.
Part-time. And we had our fires here earlier this year in January.
Right.
I picked up a gentleman that he lost his house in the Pacific Palisades. And
Hmm.
he was the silver lining mentality. I love this conversation with this gentleman. He said, I now live with a friend because they have a spare bedroom in their condo, right in here in Wilshire. And so now he's in a bedroom, right? He has a bedroom only, and he said, I only have five of everything: five shirts, five pants, five socks, five underwear. And then I realized I had a house full of stuff that I didn't need.
Yeah.
It is a loss to lose the house itself, but the stuff, I didn't
Yeah.
need all of that.
Yeah.
I have sufficient, and I have people that care, that love me, that are housing me, and he saw what he had, not the material aspects. So some of these people are learning their lessons through these
Yeah.
mediums that are happening,
Yeah.
right? He was one
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've picked up other people that not, they're in the expected reaction. when you lose something like that. He was
Right.
just more like, I see the lesson, but he wasn't even, how do I say it, so spiritually inclined to be like, oh, I get what. He was just more of his own awareness at the moment of his
Right.
own abundance.
Right.
And I was so beautiful. And I told him, thank you for sharing because it's refreshing to
Right.
see that when disaster strikes, is it really disaster?
Right. That's
Or
it.
is it the perspective of it being at so, right? And so that was just exactly what you're saying here, right? It's not the things. Yeah, you can have it, right? We already talked about it. But that's also like, as a woman and looking for a partner, right? They're like, oh, they're wealthy. I'm like, are they spiritually wealthy or are they just financially wealthy? Because I don't want to date a spiritually bankrupt person. That's the importance for us, right? A person who is of self-love. Do they love themselves? Do they know who they are? Have they forgiven those that have trespassed them? And I'm not religious, but we both were grown up, we were raised Catholic.
I
And it's still the wording is there. Have we forgiven our parents? Have we forgiven ourselves? Do we hold ourselves with grace when we make mistakes?
Right.
Do we see it? Have we done the work, right? So for you and your work, how has this helped the people that come up and they're ready, right, to have this transformation? And it's kind of interesting, right? I just hitting me right now. The word transformation. Is it a transformation or is it a remembrance?
Right. Yeah. Well, look at that word, remember. I
Mm.
thought it went like this,
Mm-hmm.
but actually I need to remember it. It doesn't go like that. It goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
It goes out from the center. And I was guided repeatedly through coincidences, synchronicities, track what we call tracking events
Okay.
that, I would work with leaders. I've had Kundalini awakening gives you connection to numerous past lives
Right.
and future lives or potentialities, as they're called. So I've been a prime minister. I've been in a lot of those roles, and um, what it's helped them to do is to begin, to prioritize, spiritual awareness and to use their money to do that. And I also want to say, I work with people, right here in this town, people, you know, shut-ins, um, anybody who really shows up and can help, pay enough so that I can pay my rent.
Right. Right.
I'm good because I love seeing how everyone is a leader
Mm-hmm.
in some community. And it's my great good fortune to really learn what real leadership is, leading from the heart.
Right.
Um, it's and to watch, over the years, some people I've worked with for years, some I touch base with every couple of years,
Right.
and to see the changes, that happen to them. In many ways, I don't have my chakra chart up yet. In many ways, it's really just going through the chakras.
Right.
I mean, the first three chakras
Yeah.
do have to be addressed, right? Basic needs, sexual power, money, and
Safety.
self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
for the third chakra, sense of self.
Yeah.
We don't have an education system,
Mm-hmm.
in this country that nurtures those, and
Right.
that is by design.
Absolutely.
That is
Absolutely.
absolutely by design.
I
You
think
cannot,
every I think at this point everyone's well aware, thankfully, that is by
yeah,
design. Obviously, and the major cities anyway are
yeah,
major
yeah.
towns, right?
So many in the first stages, what happens is you have to go back through these
Mm-hmm.
for these chakras to through trauma and wounds that you repressed,
Yes.
and that's a beautiful and sad stage, but it prepares you to cross the bridge, right? Three chakras below, three chakras above.
Right.
This is the bridge
Mm-hmm.
to cross the bridge.
The heart.
And if you're ready, you will take
Right.
all the virtues, right, that all spiritual traditions speak of, you know, humility,
Yes.
loyalty, respect,
Mm-hmm.
love, um, authentic power
Mm.
of empowering others
Right.
and not seeking it for yourself. Um, it's it's a breathtakingly beautiful time to be alive
Right.
because the choices, you may have come across Dolores Cannon's work
Yes.
about the splitting
Yes.
of the planet. And
Correct.
I don't know if it's going to physically split. She says it is,
Right.
but I
Right.
can see it is.
It's already happening. Right.
We are, splitting, and it's not just economic.
Right.
It's
Right.
really, how mindful, how aware are you in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
abundance is right here. It's right
Mm-hmm.
here with us. This is the most, auspicious conversation, of my day. But that's actually not really true because I've had others that are just right up there with this.
Mm-hmm.
And when we prioritize that experience in the present moment, the money and the things just, I don't know, they just work themselves out,
Every time. Every time.
every time.
Totally.
They're, yeah,
And all the worrying, for the audience, we've all been there. We've been there where we
oh
just
yeah,
are so using the mental energy for things that don't work, worry, doubt,
yeah,
and then pinpointing them when they do show up because we are human and we falter.
right,
And things will happen when a new challenge or invitation, as I call it, comes in. And then that's to show you, oh, I still have a little self-doubt back there, or I still have insecurity back there, or I still don't fully trust and surrender. I'm still
right.
holding on to certain parts of that. And those are the things that come in as the gift, the invitation to go deeper.
Oh yeah,
And that's why I love this podcast because I don't think it's a podcast. It's showing everyone how we're so connected, even though we're not living in the same town, on the same block,
right,
on the same neighborhood, but
right,
we are in the same vibrational
right.
space. We know each
That's
other
it.
up here,
Yeah,
but physically we never met until, I
right.
mean, we saw not physically, but we're now we can see each other.
Yeah, yeah,
And so like this space alone should allow the audience to understand that, oh, I may not be in Africa with the starving children, and that doesn't matter to me. It does because this is showing you that we're connected.
right.
We're all intertwined. And if you're so disconnected from what's happening in the world, then you're disconnected from self.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
all a reflection. Hmm.
you bring up Africa. So I have um, a colleague who just came back from Liberia. He wanted to go there. He's a person of color. And he came back and he said, dude, it's not like anything they're telling us on the news. He said, yes, they've got some conflicts that are happening, but man, I was fed all the time. He said, everything, basically, I spent my days with people,
Hmm.
people who wanted to know me, people who wanted to help me know them.
Hmm.
He said, think about that. Think about a day spent this much working
Right.
and this much connecting with other humans in fun activities that don't take a lot of money
Yes.
because
Yes.
you want to be entertained? We'll bring, drummers and singers and dancers from this house
Yes.
because they're here. This blew my mind. It again reaffirmed, don't watch the news. It's yeah, you're gonna get informed.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
You're
No,
gonna know what the
Africa right now is leading the charge with economy, with connection. It's really
yeah,
interesting. However, there
yeah,
are still warlords and there is still hunger, sure. But it is much smaller, thankfully, now than it was back in the
Right.
day, right?
Right.
But no, it is incredible. It is
It
incredible.
is.
Truly, that's the point, right? You don't know. You just know what you hear. It's hearsay
Right.
on the
Right.
news, right? Because they want you to
Right.
program. You and I know it's just
Yeah.
programming.
Yeah.
Um, your scheduled lead program, right? Programming. So it is how are we where we've landed, but we're expanding all of that, right? And
Yeah.
like you're saying, that splitting of vibrational of dimensionality, right?
Yeah.
And I feel, I would say, the feeling that I've sat with a lot of this, right? Like, how is it gonna look? I don't know, right? Because Dolores Cannon says this, and then and John Dee and his work also kind of have spoken on the split as well. Um, and it's kind of what I've envisioned, a sense of purgatory where it's heading for the third dimension, right? Where the people that haven't learned who they are, what they're a part of, this beautiful, how we started, blissful, unconditional, loving source energy,
Yeah.
because by their choices, they've chosen mm, their shadow aspect. We'll keep it light, right? They keep
Yeah.
choosing their shadow aspect over and over and choosing fear and doubt and worry, and that's all you choose, and rarely choose love in your day. That you're putting yourself in a space of purgatory,
Mm.
right? And while we're here, it you know, it's interesting how to conversationally put it without it being so fluff, right? Where the fifth dimensional, fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, and so forth, um, we're accepting of who we are, right here, right in the now. We
Yeah.
know who we are. We love who we are. And just by choosing love more is leading us into a more expanded space.
Right. Right. Yeah. You remind me, it just popped up, The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. Um, my first job was on a multiple personality disorder unit. They're called
Mm.
dissociative disorder unit now, but it was multiple personality at that time. And I saw what that book is talking about.
Mm.
And I saw people who needed to be wheeled because of obesity, wheeled to the lunchroom, jump up out of that wheelchair, race down the hall, laughing as a child, throwing her hands up in the air. All
Mm.
systems are on,
Right.
doing fine, and then falling on the ground and saying, "Will somebody please come and get me?" I'm like, Linda, what was that? Oh, did my child come out? What did I do? You ran. You're great. No wonder I'm tired. Well, I want to eat lunch, so put me in the wheelchair. It's like, and I went back to the unit and I said, "What are we doing about this? Why are we talking about this? We don't know what to do with this." Oh
That's
my
the
God.
thing. Right.
So, so holographic universe. If you haven't read it,
Mm-hmm.
get it and just sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I now feel that, and it's my conviction that we are in a hologram
Mm-hmm.
and we're all in our own individual and we cross paths and that everything just shows up when it's needed and learning to trust that. Like, this is the perfect place to learn that lesson
Yes.
of how to put yourself out there, work, 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 work. And then finally you just fall down and what you wanted just shows up, but not in the way that you thought you were going to get it. Maybe you're not going to get $1 million,
Right.
so you don't have to work again. But maybe you're going to come into an appreciation of just the work you're doing
Mm-hmm.
and why you'd want to get up in the morning and go there.
Right.
And that's what we coach people in HeartPath is break the addiction to changing the hologram. change yourself. Change how you're approaching. Approaching is very powerful business. How you approach a person, how you approach a situation. If you approach with this, you're going to get more of this. But if you approach with your heart open, um, you know, I've always had a fascination. I've had a lot of connection to um, the African American community, but I was raised in Baltimore. I was raised a racist,
Right.
you know. I had neighbors who, we had a black um, she was a maid, but she was a caretaker when my parents went away, and I loved this woman. And
Mm,
I remember walking outside after eating dinner, and all my white friends coming up and saying, "Irene, make you good fried chicken? Is that what you had for dinner tonight?"
mm,
And it was like I was just shocked. And I walked inside, and she sat me down, and she looked in my eyes, and she said, "You pay no attention to them.
right.
Don't put your attention on what they're talking about." She was a master. She was already teaching me about where you put your attention is where you're creating. And I, so I've had these experiences
Right.
where walking in Boston, visiting clients and getting a place in a borough that's not so wealthy, an
Mm,
Airbnb, and walking down the street and two black guys walking up to me and saying to me right in my eyes, "Now, if we were in your neighborhood, you'd be calling the police right now."
mm,
Or maybe looking me in the eye and saying, "Maybe you'd kill me."
mm,
And I just looked at this person, and again, the light just came down over me, and I said, "I would never do that.
right.
I don't know what's going to happen here, but I would never do that to you."
Yeah.
He looked at me and he said, "Shit." He laughed, pushed me aside, and walked on. And I felt like I got an initiation. Like, yes, I'm catching on to this. I'm realizing I'm putting myself in these situations. And I was honest with this person. I have no control over what's happening,
Right.
except I do by waking up and breaking out of the fear cycles that we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly fed
Mm-hmm.
online
Mm-hmm.
that are not true.
Mm-hmm.
They're not true.
Yep.
And if you live long enough, I'm 61 years old. You start to see, they talked about this 10 years ago. Oh no, this is going to happen. Oh no, it's going to be a collapse of the markets. Oh no. It's just, it's
Yeah.
recycled.
It's recycled. Yeah. I relate really well because I'm from New York City, born and raised. So no
Ah,
racism, no prejudice because we're all one there. But what I did learn was about programming. So I'm from Queens and I ended
mm,
up in Brooklyn where there was a predominantly black neighborhood. Um, it was a beautiful neighborhood. And I had to walk to the train. And one day I noticed myself clutching my purse. And that's when I realized, oh, the programming is deeper than I thought. Because
yeah,
I don't have a thought of like, oh my God, I'm just automatically reacting to something
right,
that I've been taught about a certain group of people. And although
right,
living in New York, I thought I would never have such a thing. And that's when I let it go. And I'm grateful that, having the awareness of just like, I'm just gonna walk as if they're just regular people. I'm a regular, it's just work. I'm not gonna feed
right,
into that feedback loop
right,
into my life. Because
right,
then if I'm worried, right, as you know, if I sit in that, someone will rob me, someone will come up to me, someone will, and it doesn't have to
right,
be black. It just could be because of the fear that I keep feeding into self.
right,
Versus I saw it and said, no, I let you go and you're not welcome inside of me. And I love this neighborhood. Everyone's so
right,
welcoming and warm and good mornings and all the things. So my grandmother, oh, bless her heart, she's no longer with us
mm,
on this realm. She asked me once when I was living there, she's like, "Are you not afraid?" And I said, "Grandma, you live in an all Hispanic neighborhood. You know how many times people say good morning to me when I come see you? Zero. Do you know how many times I do have to worry about the guys that I'm walking towards your house? I have to, or every time. How many times these women, they look at me like, oh, why are you saying hi to me? In the black community, it was so welcoming,
Right.
but in my community, I'm not even welcomed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just, she sat with that. At her age at the time, I'll never forget like seeing her brain go like, oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Wow. Hence the work you're doing now.
Hence the work I do now, right? So even, my grandparents, admire them and I love them. They've always accepted me, even though they didn't understand.
Yeah.
They accepted me because what is it, Ravi? I'm coming from here,
Right.
right? So their heart, their mind may not understand,
Right.
but their heart understood what I
That's it.
was, where I was living from, coming from.
That's it.
And so people
That's
always
it.
try, right? Other people's mind and ego want to change their grandparents, their aunts and uncles. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Right. All the abundance is right here. There was a great talk given by a very wealthy consultant who went to Harlem, and he was asked to help this community raise funds, raise
Right.
resources for their things. And he walked up to the board and he wrote resources, and he said, "Tell me what your resources are." The people looked at him and said, "Well, that's what we told you. We don't have a lot of money." He goes, "Great. Get that one out of the way." Drew the dollar sign and drew a line through it. Okay, good. That's done. Okay, now tell me what resources you have.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any resources. Sit with it. Well,
Right.
we have an after school program. After school program. Well, we have church socials. We all come together. How many times a year? Like 15 times a year. Okay. And we have painting parties. We have building parties. Okay. He's just writing on this board. And then he tabulated how much all that would cost
Right.
if they were hiring out
Right.
for all those things, childcare, food, renting houses, renting places. Um, and he goes, these are your resources. He goes, you're just ahead of the curve. You've
Mm-hmm.
taken out, you know, this piece of
Mm-hmm.
paper. You just took it out, which is
Yes.
where we're going. He said, that's
Right.
why I'm here, because you're
Yes.
teaching me. And he
Yes.
goes, but I understand you want to do this. He goes, have you considered that you invite families that need after school care for their kids to
Yes.
come into your community?
Right.
Well, your kids don't pay, those kids do pay if their parents have it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have other resources that they could give. Maybe they're a tailor, maybe they're a sewer, maybe they work on restoring houses. And by the end of it, the entire board was full of resources. And he said, it changed his whole way of thinking about, the economy. It's based on resources.
Right.
And one of the things I'm watching happening is this whole idea of world,
Mm-hmm.
awareness, at least here in this city, but I've seen it in other cities too. It's coming back to, what do we have?
What do we have? Yes.
And we can still give to world organizations, but maybe we can learn from Liberia. We could be
Absolutely.
spending our time half the amount of time we're working to buy stuff
Right.
and use that time, to be in community with each other, to do this. Look what we're doing now.
Right.
I'm not getting paid dollars to do this, but this is
Same.
one of the most fulfilling experiences of my entire week, my entire
Oh,
month.
appreciate
And this will generate more opportunities. So the way of the heart path is starting to see that this is commerce. This is the new commerce.
it. Mm-hmm.
This is what is now generating energy, because that's what money is. It's just energy, a form of energy. This is much more effective in creating synchronicities, coincidences, connections than a piece of paper
Absolutely.
ever
Absolutely.
will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to
Yay.
bring back the question I wanted to ask you earlier.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that we're going to leave for last. And now we're unfortunately towards the end of this
Yes.
phenomenal conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so for someone that, for our audience here listening, for anyone out there that may be interested, right? Because that's what really this community spaces to invite others to not be afraid to start their own path, right? To
Yeah.
start their own transformation, their own remembrance. So, how would you guide someone? What is your recommendation to start? Or if they're still in the beginning stages, but to continue and not lose hope in, within the journey. It is a difficult one,
Yeah.
but worth more than any gold.
Well, I would say the first thing is to start meditating.
Mhm,
Just 3 to 5 minutes
mhm,
each sitting. And you could do the still space meditation that we did, the space between each thought,
right,
the space between each word, to begin to reconnect to the heart space,
mhm,
okay? Which is what's in that space.
right,
That's the world of the heart. It's an actual world. So, even if you did it for 5 minutes every couple of hours,
right.
you can do that. You can do it with your eyes open. You can look on the subway and see, oh, there's a space between those two people. I think I'll just focus there
I love that. I love that.
and just run your own experiment.
Mhm,
See what happens.
mhm,
Also, get a journal
mhm.
and start to write down things you're experiencing.
Yes.
The intensity of the energy now is so great that affirmations are extraordinarily powerful.
Mhm,
So if you want something really in your life, just affirm you already have it. I have a beautiful place to live. I have a beautiful relationship. Just do it 15 times
mhm.
every couple of hours. You're just driving in your car, turn the radio off and just say it.
Yes.
Watch how experiences start showing up. Will it be your knight or your damsel in distress? Maybe not. But maybe somebody will say to you, you want to go with us tonight, to this place? And
Right.
your old reaction would be no. You know, like that's used to be my reaction. I would just say no, and people say, "What do you do if you
Mm,
don't go out with us?" Watch
right.
movies.
Right.
Really?
Mhm.
That's sad, Ravi. Like, it was so great. I got really good teachers. That's just sad, man. You're just sad. That's, I
Right.
am sad. Well, then don't be sad. Come out with us. We want to
Yeah.
have fun with you.
Yeah.
So start to start to do that. Start to say
Mhm,
yes. Just say
mhm,
yes more than saying no.
mhm, mhm.
Just say yes and
Totally.
watch what starts to happen in your life. You're going to
Mhm,
have little feelings of being out of control, and that's okay.
mhm,
That's part of the process. You got to get used to it. You're going to be out of your comfort zone. You get
mhm.
to choose how you do it and
Right.
when you do it.
Right.
So just say yes. Use affirmations. Part of my work is I create vision boards with people.
Mhm.
Create a vision board and create it from your feelings for
Mhm.
stuff that really lights you up.
Right.
Put it on there. You don't have to have a certain design, any way you want to do it. And just stick it in your living room. Stick it on the wall in your office.
Mhm.
Watch.
Right.
Watch what starts happening. Don't worry, you're in control. You can say no when the cruise comes,
Right.
but step out of your comfort zone. It's That's a lot of what I've helped people do
Right.
is just step out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
And don't worry, you can step back in, but you're gonna find life's a lot more fun. You're not so messed up as you think you are.
Right.
You're okay. You're okay.
Yes.
We all got stuff. We're all working on it to whatever degree we can.
Yeah.
But have fun. It's
Yes.
it's too we're too serious
Yes. Have
here.
fun. So have
Have
so much.
fun.
Yes, you have to have fun. It can't be serious all the time. Because even
No.
depression can be too serious. That's too serious. But have fun.
That's great. Even depression can be too serious. You gotta make a
Uh,
commercial for that. That's great. It
Hi.
is.
Have you ever felt so like, you know what?
Really
You need to
serious.
you need to go outside and just look at kids. That's it.
Right.
it gets too serious because even people don't realize, because it's true. You don't realize that these afflictions that we give ourselves can be so serious
Right.
because we're
Right.
lacking fun. We're lacking laughter. We're lacking, as you know, the connection to our inner child. And
Yeah.
that's why we fall into depression or high anxiety or whatever all these other mental illnesses are out there. Mental illness alone is just you're
Yeah.
disconnected from your heart. That's why you're
Right.
having issues.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Rav, Ravindra, thank you. I cannot thank you
Thank
enough
you.
for this beautiful
It
conversation.
was wonderful.
Uh,
Really loved it.
Joy. I am grateful. Thank you, Brian, for
Thank you,
introducing
Brian. Again. Again.
again for introducing us and him paying attention to who is this person and who
Yeah.
oh well this is my friend
Right.
she's already they need to talk so
And
it's
can I put a plug in for my website?
well, I'm gonna put all your information. Totally go
Okay.
ahead. But
Good.
for anybody out there who wants to work with Ravi, I'll make sure that I'll have your website, all your links
Great.
on
Wonderful.
YouTube and Spotify are the only two places that let me do links.
Right.
Everything else, Apple doesn't let me do links.
But I
But
didn't even know this. So Brian made my website.
mm,
Brian's incredible. Brian
yes,
Vertees,
he's great.
incredible web designer. So um, he told me it's HeartPath.Institute. So there's the space. HeartPath.Institute.
There's the space.
Wow, dude, I didn't even know that. He goes, yeah, I know. You keep using the old one. So if you want to check that out, that'd be fun.
That'd be
And
yes,
his
check that out.
designs are awesome. He's
Hmm.
so creative.
Yes, he's very,
And
very
that's in closing, support other people. And what
mm,
Claudia is doing here is huge. This is
mm,
such a great gift to the
mm.
world, to the universe, the amount of light that you're bringing in and that you're drawing out of us. And so support people who are doing these. Okay. It's really important. It's making a difference. And you can learn to see that difference.
Yeah.
Doesn't take very long.
It doesn't. It's just you being ready to see it and leaving your
That's it.
old story behind that no longer serves. Because we're
Right.
heading into a world that's filled with a joy unlike any other
Yeah.
that you've been
It's a time
missing
of
and lacking.
celebration.
It's a time of celebration.
Yeah.
Truly, Ravindra, honored
Thank you.
and
Honored too.
fulfilled. Thank you so much. And thank you
Yeah.
to all the listeners out there in, collaborating because you two are here listening with us and
Yay.
being ready to receive whatever messages may come through for you. And share this with anyone that you feel that might benefit from today's
Yeah.
conversation. Absolutely. And as always, remember that the breath is the secret and always do your best to lead with love. And until next time, we will see you then. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.